Okay, welcome to Into the Channel, a podcast primarily about women's football. I am your host, Dino DeCespedes, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Grant Engel. What is up, man?
I'm feeling fantastic, buddy. I feel like we are returning to our roots of being a learning podcast. And in some ways, in many ways, we never stopped being a learning podcast. But looking at these teams that we, know a lot of the players, but frankly, haven't had a ton of opportunities to watch a lot of these teams play since the 2023 World Cup in some cases. I'm just extremely psyched to cover this tournament with you.
Absolutely, man. We're about to do some learning right now. We went all 16 teams. We drafted. I've got 8. You've got 8. We're going to go down the whole docket. This is going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty mega preview. If I had to make a prediction, an early prediction for the show. But with that said, Mr. Grandigal, where do you want to get started?
So in the interest of time, because we have 16 teams, we agreed before this, let's take a look at a couple players. Let's take a look at how they did in the last Euros, if they qualified. And now that we're in another tournament with groups, especially groups lettered A through D, Alpha through Delta, if you will, I don't think we have any other choice but to go alphabetical order through group, alphabetical order by team name within the group, the double alphabetical order.
Yeah, double alpha, which is just, you know how we do around here. But before we do that, let's get to the draft. Okay, as promised, here we go. The UEFA Women's 2025 Euro Draft, where each of us will select teams. We'll make some picks. We've got the preview coming. Well, actually, you're watching the preview right now, and this is just nuzzled right inside the preview. So forget all that. Little editing magic, skirty skirt. Let's get to it. We're going to speed. We got to speed through this draft. So we're going to boom, quick formality. You're our resident England guy. You needed to be the guy covering England. So you're taking England. I'm going to take Spain as a result. So
sure.
Draft starts at 3. You'll have the third pick in the draft, and then we'll just alternate from there.
Okay. Wow. I didn't expect that, but I should have expected you to be as gracious as you usually are.
Or sneaky.
You always got a trick up your sleeve when it comes to these drafts. All right, give me France. I know we've had our questions about them in big tournaments, but I want to talk about them, and there's endless intrigue with, is this team going to play well in a big tournament?
Well, they're France, so probably no. So you took France. Give me, I didn't think they'd be here. Give me Germany, the 3rd ranked team in the world, super loaded. I get to watch all those great players. Made some noise in the Nations League. I think they'll be disappointed if they don't at least reach the semis. So give me the Germans.
Okay. I'm already going to betray my big board, but I think it's just because now that I'm here, I'm going to go one spot lower on my big board because I'm afraid that you would take them next. I'm going to take Norway. Shout out to all of our pals, the Braun Battalion.
Wow.
I'm obviously rooting for them because of all the great people we've met along the way in the Champions League coverage, leading to, us just becoming Braun supporters. So give me the Norwegians.
I hate that. Sniped them. Loaded squad. Aurora Mikkelsen, Gro Reiten, Frida Manum, Ingrid Engen, Karina Shavik, Justin Jelen, Elizabeth Turlin, Ada Hegerberg, CGH. Nice pick. Love it. I think I'm going to go... Damn, this is tough. Got my eyes on 2 teams. I'm going to go with my heart here. Give me the Netherlands. I like the attackers. Esme Brooks. Sharita Spitza is not an attacker, but Daniela Van de Donk, a loaded side for the Netherlands. No Lily Johannes, but I don't know. Maybe it could be
poke in the ribs. Why'd you do him like that?
I don't know, man. We're speed drafting. I'm trying to go quick here. I'm going off the dome. And fair. I didn't know that it'd end up with the Netherlands in the 4th round. So I'm very happy about my pick here. Give me the Dutch.
That was literally the team number 5 on my board that I took Norway in front of the Netherlands because I had a feeling if I took Netherlands, you would take Norway, and I just couldn't live with myself if I allowed that to happen. Okay, I guess I'll just keep it in the Nordics. I'll take Sweden.
No, Damn, great pick. All right.
A lot of good players.
Great pick. Yeah, JRK, Rolfo, Champions League winner, Stina Blacksenius. I mean, can't go wrong there.
Damn right.
All right. For the vibes, give me Portugal. Recently announced Kika Nazareth back in the group. Might get some burn here for the Portuguese, and I'm not going to let Kika slip any deeper in this draft further than she already has. So give me that squad.
Our big boards are very, very similar, which I guess makes sense considering we watch a lot of Champions League and talk about it all the time together.
We do a show. We've talked football hundreds of hours. We probably have all the same ideas. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's about right. So I'm curious to see where this team was. I mean, could we be more of a pro Valentina Giacinti podcast? I don't think it would be possible that we could be. Give me the Italianas.
Excellent pick by you, Manuela Giuliano, Elena Linari. Just so many fun names. Sofia Cantore. So many fun names to say on this Italian side. You're going to have a blast with that group. All right, who do we have left? All right, Italy off the board. Give me the 12th ranked team in the world, Denmark. I like their attackers. Pretty harder. Senior Brun, Emily Vangsgaard. Not a ton not a ton after that. But I mean, at the very least, we're going to stay in some games. So give me the Danes.
Okay. All right. Now you've given me some options here. I know we're speed drafting. I mean, they're next on my big board, so I'm just going to do it. I'm going to take Poland. And if the question is, am I taking them largely because of Eva Pajor? You're damn right I am. I want to learn more about them. Give me the Poles.
Good pick. I might end up regretting this pick. Do I want to do that? No, I'm not going to pick them. Give me Iceland.
Okay.
Svedis Jane, Glodis Perlevigas Dodier. They played the U.S. tough the last couple of matches. I like watching them play. 14th ranked team in the world. I'm not sure how live they'll be in this tournament, but I don't know. They're fun. They're scrappy. And I don't know. I like that pick. Good value here late in the draft.
I think so. And I don't know if this is the team that you were, between, but it would be kind of silly if me living here in Seattle, Washington, and with two Seattle Reign FC players on the squad, I thought I could get them later in the draft. So I'm going to go ahead and take Wales with obviously Jess Fishlock and Angaran James Turner, making their long-awaited debut, Fishlock specifically making her long-awaited debut in the Women's Euros. It's about damn time. I'm ready to see her play.
I like it. Draft really broke my way. I wasn't picking between those two, and a little bit of game shift draft strategy. I knew that Welsh squad. I knew they'd have a couple players that you'd have your eye on. So they were a cross off for me. I was going to let them sit. And now, very late in the draft, with my 7th pick, the home team falls in my lap, who includes 1 Leah Valti, 1 Anna Maria Cernogorcevic, and the youngin, Sydney Shirton-Leib. Let's fucking go. I'm ready for my Shirton-Leib moment in the Euros.
That's a great pick. Yeah, congrats on that. I'm looking at my big board. Perhaps the big board betrayed me somewhat there. So it's okay. No, that's the host nation. It's a great call by you. Okay, 2 left. I'm gonna go ahead. You know what? I have Norway and Sweden. I'm not great with geography, so I'm not sure if I'm a grown man and I'm not 100% sure if Finland is in the Nordics. I think it is.
They're up in that mix.
Okay, sure. Yeah, they're they're in Europe, right? I know that much. So yeah, give me Finland.
There you go. Kuika, Katarina Kosola. You got some recognizable players. And that leaves me with Belgium. Don't know any of their players, but hey, we've got a couple days between now and, well, your boy's going to have to do a little homework on Belgium.
Understandable. I'll be doing the same with Finland. Obviously, they have, like you mentioned, they have a couple recognizable players, but, we try to watch as much of the European leagues as possible. Obviously, some of these squads have NWSL players, but we got homework now. So I guess that's what we're doing here. So I'm psyched about it. I like the look of this breakdown. Shall we do a quick rundown of who we have?
Yeah. You go first.
All right. So I have England, France, Norway, Sweden, Italy, Poland, Wales, Finland.
I like it. I'm just gonna come out and say I think I smashed this draft. I've got Spain, Germany, Netherlands, Portugal, Iceland, Denmark, Switzerland, and Belgium.
It's pretty good. I'd say you did all right.
I think I did all right. I'm not gonna go as far as to say we should take it to a poll, but suffice to say, I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to take it to a poll, that's fine. I'll lose again.
Forget about it. All right, back to the preview.
All right, so let's talk about Finland. Ranked number 26, according to FIFA. They did not notch a point in the 2022 Euros, but in their defense, they were stuck in a group with Spain, Germany, and Denmark. So that was probably pretty tough for them. A couple players to watch here. And obviously, I haven't seen much Finland, so I'm excited here. You already know, my eyes immediately go to Joanna Tinila from the mighty SK Braun. Defender, completed 87% of her passes in the 23-24 UWCL. She'll be rocking out in the defense there. Be pulling for her, of course. Next, Katarina Kosola, currently playing for Malmo and Damallsvenskan. I'm going to take us back again to the beginning of this podcast, where she was playing for BK Häcken in that same 23-24 UEFA Women's Champions League. I will forever remember her as the player who scored the winner in match week 2 versus Real Madrid in that group stage.
Let's go. Yeah.
And it was when Madrid got that draw versus Chelsea in the first match, and me and you were like, okay, Real Madrid, it's the Champions League. We're here. Like, we're covering this sport. And then they didn't win a match for the rest of that group stage. And it felt like it started with that Casola goal.
Yeah. I feel like maybe they did not lose a match, or they didn't. I think they lost. They lost
every single match.
Big. Yeah, it was pretty bad for Real Madrid. I wish I would have been prepared for your Katarina Kosola, because I've got a sick card corner, and
wow,
my Kosola card corner might never come up again. It's certainly possible.
She's gonna be playing for Finland in this Euro, so we'll see about it.
Great point. Yeah, that's a player to watch for sure. I'm gonna be excited to watch Finland. I think they're in an interesting group. So Group A, not to play spoiler, but Finland, Iceland, Norway, Switzerland. You've got a couple real teams in there, but no massive, no real big dogs in that Group A. So field seems pretty open.
It is based on past results. It shouldn't be, and we'll talk about that later, because I do believe there should be a big dog in this group, and it's just weird that it doesn't feel that way. But I'll save that for later.
Next club, I think I got my alphabet right. I guess we're up to Iceland at this point. Mm-hmm. So Iceland FIFA rankings, I think they were ranked pretty high, 14th. So in their Nations League results, they lost twice to France and then 4 draws versus Norway and Switzerland. So they've got some experience against a couple of these teams. And then when you look at it, some players to look out for, I'm going to hit 3 players here. Obviously, Svendes Jane, Jones Dortier, you already know. Angel City, they're getting a real one. Only 2 goals off the bench this year for Wolfsburg, but in the Champions League, she had that 4-goal explosion, single-handedly kicking Rome out of the tournament, and just sending a shiver through the spine of football fans everywhere. But another player I want to talk about, Carolina Willems-Dottir, 23 years old. Now, USWNT fans will remember her for the Olympico that she put in against the USA that beats Casey Murphy. But I mean, she's balling basically. 22 appearances for Leverkusen in Frauen Bundesliga, 2 goals, 5 assists, 48 shot creating actions. She's top 20 shot creating actions per 90. Again, in the Frauen Bundesliga, she scores, an attacking midfielder that could pretty much do everything. And then obviously the captain, Glodis Perla-Vigas-Dottir, in the defense. You already know she's going to be anchoring that thing. I wish I could remember the match where after Bayern scored a goal in the Champions League, she just goes up to one of her teammates to just headbutts her, like not full on, UFC Marvel character headbutt, but just like a, I can't control myself and we're just going to smash foreheads just a little bit. I think at that point, I'm like, this is just one of my favorite players in the world.
That's amazing. No, it's fun. That's phenomenal. And Willems-Dottir, I'm glad you mentioned her. 2 years on loan at Bayer Leverkusen will return to Bayern Munich at some point here, unless I have that wrong, please. And to our pals who might be watching this, from these countries, let us know, whether you're a new pal or you've been rocking with us for a while. Let us know if we miss anything or overlook anything. But yeah, I mean, a team that's just going to naturally have some good size and we know has some good speed. I think, they're number 14 for a reason.
Yeah, and I mean, we also remember we were talking a lot of Champions League. Amanda Jakobsen, Andra Dortier, she had an assist late in a match against Real Madrid to Braca to make it 3-2 in that one. But 21 years old, again, plays for Twente. This is a team that's got a lot of good players, a lot of professional players that are playing a lot of different leagues around the world. I think when we did the draft, I was a little lower on Iceland, but I think they've got an outside shot of clearing this Group A and getting out and into the quarterfinals. So I'm very excited to watch this Iceland team play.
I love it. Great take. I'm all in on that.
Let's go.
All right, let's push it forward. I've been eager to talk about this team. So this is the team that obviously should be the big dog in the group. Let's talk about Norway. They're ranked 16th in the FIFA rankings, 2 behind Iceland.
Wow.
In the 2022 Euros, they didn't make it out of the group stage. I just want to say, in the first match, they beat Northern Ireland 4-1. Great start. That's the way it should look. You're Norway. You have great players all over the field. In their second group stage match in 2022, as many people probably recall, they lost to England 8-0.
Oh, no.
Beth Mead scored a hat-trick. The legend, Ellen White, added a brace. Georgia Stanway, Lauren Hemp, Alessia Russo, they all chipped in with goals as well. But that's okay. Oh, we'll be all right, guys. We got smashed. Terrible match. We just got to get this win versus Austria. We're level on points. We go into the knockout stage. Everything's going to be fine. Lose 1-0 to Austria. Tournament smashed into a billion pieces.
Wow.
Complete disaster.
I mean, that's an important point. This is a very short tournament. This group stage is 3 matches in, out. You come out flat in that first match, you could already be in some real trouble. So you can look at this Group A, and you got Finland, Iceland, Switzerland, Norway. Feels ish pretty open, but even if you're Norway, you could be in a really bad spot, especially if you lose to the wrong team early. It's so short, and the stakes are so high.
That's a great point. So, how are they gonna prevent this? Because I'm gonna do a little bit of a thing here, but I mean, you already know who I'm gonna lead the proceedings with. Sinja Gaupset, 20-year-old, gritty and incredibly talented midfielder who plays with both power and style from the mighty SK Brann. Game wrecker, no doubt. Has scored big goals in the past, is just crushing in the top Syrian season right now. The Guardian referred to her as, quote, a star in the making, end quote. To which I say to the fine folks of the Guardian, no disrespect, yeah, bro, we've been known that she's a star in the making, and she already is a star. I cannot.
Stars been made.
Exactly. So, I want to see her on this big stage. I know you and I have watched other Norway matches, though, and been like, you going to put her on the field or not? Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be a big part of this. I mean, like you said, we got 3 matches in the group stage. Let's go ahead and get her on the field.
Yeah. I mean, well, three, it's just so short. There's just not that many minutes. And you look at that forward room for Norway, Caroline Graham Hansen, you already know, Ada Hegerberg. I mean, there's just 2 legends right there. And then Elizabeth Turland in the mix as well, who's also got a ton of experience in the WSL, a ton of goal scoring in the WSL as well. So Gaupset should get time. She's just enough of a wild card that I think you have to find minutes for her. Like she's a change of pace. She's a matchup nightmare. Even with all those talented players, I mean, you gotta think a little bit outside the box here. And then you also want to get a player like that some reps. You don't want to have to call on a young player in knockout football, at the absolute apex of the sport. So let's get some early Gaupset minutes.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad you mentioned Ada Hegerberg and Carolina Graham Hansen, CGH, as she is called on this podcast. I mean, look, Hegerberg left the national team for a little bit of a stretch, didn't like the investment, didn't like the buy-in from the federation, has come back. Hegerberg, as everybody knows, or as most people probably know, the UEFA Women's Champions League all-time leading scorer. She hasn't scored in a major competitive tournament for Norway since her 3 goals in the group stage of the 2015 World Cup. So,
Oh,
and that's
God.
that's just kind of weird how the timing works out, because she didn't score in 23, and then like I said, she took that hiatus from like 17 to 22, somewhere in that ballpark. CGH is at worst. I won't listen to anything worse than she's the 4th best player in the world.
Hmm.
And I think in a lot of readings, I think that even in the Guardian's 100 list, she was 2. I think maybe on ESPN's list, maybe she was 3, somewhere in there. It's winning time, pals. You got to get
Let's
far
go.
in this tournament. It just
Yeah.
looks too weird that this team doesn't win. And so I'll be rooting hard for them. Obviously, we got so many pals over in the Brown Battalion. Like, you just got to start making it happen here.
Yeah, I believe it. And a team with, or a country with some background, like some pedigree with it from a championship standpoint. So this
Yeah.
would be a team getting back to the mountaintop, and yeah, I'm just dying to see. I want to see all these big time players in the knockout stage. Like, I don't want to see these players going home early. I mean, there's too much talent. Let's get it together. Just haven't been able to do it, but hopefully this is the time. This is the tournament to do it. Let's close out Group A. We've got one more team, the host country, Switzerland. So they're sitting. I looked at some odds too. They're sitting at plus 2,500. Not quite middle of the pack, but a little bit below the fold. And I think they're getting a little bit of a boost for being the home country. But a couple players I want to key in on. Sydney Schurtenleib. I went back and watched. We've seen what she could do at Barcelona, but I went back and watched some of her play on the Swiss side, and Switzerland just drops her in the middle of the park, and she looks like Billy Madison in the dodgeball scene, where she's just just surrounded by players half her size and just dominating, running twice as fast, doing whatever she wants. Just looks completely dominant. I rarely do this, but I had to do this. Give me one quick second. I want to share something with you. This is Sydney Schurtenleib's FB ref.
Sure. Yeah. That seems good.
What this doesn't even seem real. So for our audio only audience, it's a bunch of green bars, all of them almost all the way maxed out, and there's about 20 stacked on top of each other for every offensive category that you can imagine. Even tackles, she's in the 82nd percentile. It's unbelievable that, like, they're all 90 plus with a bunch of 99s in here. Totally unfair. So Schurtenleib's an absolute beast. I wanted to call out Juventus defender Viola Caligaris. She's leading the Swiss in minutes and goals, 540 minutes and 3 goals this year for the Swiss. Started all 6 Champions League matches for Juve, 2 goals to open the 25 Nations League versus Turkey. This is a team that's also got Geraldine Reuteler in the midfield, Alicia Lehmann up top, plays for Juventus. They're not super talented. They're a little bit inexperienced at goalkeeper. Elvira Herzog's only got 9 caps, 24 years old. She's their most senior goalkeeper. But, as the home country, I think they're going to be a tough out. Anna Maria Srnogorcevic, AMC, as known on this pod. She'll be in that attacking room as well. And it is to Leah Walty from Arsenal. So, there's some real football players on Switzerland, and they'll be at home. They'll get that extra juice. So we'll see if they can carry that into the knockout round.
Champions League winners, AMC as well when she played with Barcelona. You got, obviously you mentioned Volti. You got the young star in Schurtenleib, host nation. A lot of things going for the Swiss.
Hell yeah. All right, man. You want to shift gears and scoot ahead to Group B?
Before we do that, I just want to say, you mentioned the friskiness of some of these teams. You mentioned the sleeping giant in Norway. I just want to throw it out there. We have a tradition on Into the Channel podcast. There's enough heartache and horrible things in the world. We don't refer to any group as the group of death. We choose to go with the group of life. I just want to say, Group A, pretty good candidate for the group of life.
I like it. Yeah. Everyone's alive for as long as possible. That's the only. Those are the only parameters for getting that group of life moniker. But I like it. Tentative group of life for Group A. Who do you think? I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Little prediction. Who makes it out of Group A?
Norway has to win, so they will win.
Agreed.
Norway is going to win this group, and I would like to see them at at worst get 2 convincing wins and maybe coast to a draw, but I'd like to see them just get 3 wins. And I know it's tournament football. It's hard, but come on, man. You got too many good players. Like, we even say the name Girl right when we're talking about that team. And I know we're doing these quickly, but like, let's go Norway.
Yeah.
And then I'll take my second team. I'm not going to go. Yeah, I got to. I'll go host country, Switzerland.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, I got to go with my 2 teams, Finland. I think I agree with you. My heart wants to say Iceland.
I know.
And they certainly do play tough in these tournaments, but I sort of feel a tough break coming on for Iceland. Not saying that there's going to be anything nefarious, but that's just generally how these things go. I think we'll all be pretty pumped to have seen Iceland maybe get close, but it does usually break for the home country in a situation like this, especially in a somewhat soft group. So I do expect Switzerland to nudge past Iceland into the knockout stage.
Yeah, Iceland is just staring at me. I like their talent a lot. I like their style. So we'll see. Because I was going to say, I don't want to go chalk and pick the host country and go with Iceland, but I think my head is prevailing here. So yeah, give me Norway and Switzerland. Sounds like we're on the same page there.
All right, let's go. Group B. Where do you want to start? Let's check the alphabet situation here. Group B.
Well,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I won't do the Elmo voice, but B is for Belgium, buddy. I think we gotta start there.
All right, so Belgium. This was a team that had an interesting Nations League run. They scored 3 times over 2 matches versus Spain. They get a 3-0 away win over Portland, and they beat your Lionesses 3-2.
Wait, just to be clear, I don't think they beat Portland. I would have loved to see that match.
They beat Portugal.
Okay, fair. That's a good one.
They beat Portugal. Thank you for that very important correction, and that's the downside of using some of these short names to capture some of these
that's
countries.
Funny.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. All right,
yeah. Tessa Voulier, she can score 5 goals in 6 Nations League matches, 10 goals, 3 assists, 82 shot creating actions for Internazionale. Sarah Keys of Leicester, 24 years old, ranks in the 99th percentile in the WSL for interceptions, 7th in interceptions per 90. So she's a midfielder defender that kind of for sure will mix it up. But my favorite little nugget here from Belgium, 36-year-old Davina Filtjens, who plays for Sassuolo. Teammates call her the Pitbull because, according to Davina, she has a bit of a temper. And also, she never gives up. End quote.
Let's go. I love it. I mean, and, for anybody who is like, curious about this, The Guardian, again, Marcus Christensen, Stephen Bloor, Gary Blight, they put together this really cool preview where they give you some nuggets on every single player. I know Dino leaned on that. I leaned on that as well, kind of looked at some of the other historical stuff. Little funny quips about kind of every single player here. So shout out to those 3 in The Guardian for putting that together.
Did they have that Pitbull piece?
No. Right. I think they may have. Yes. They did say that they call her the Pitbull, and her quote was saying, "The Pitbull because I'm fierce despite my height."
Okay.
So that's an additional piece, and it also says just to promo.
She's gotta get her story straight.
and just another little piece to maybe show the doggedness here. In her spare time, she enjoys mountain biking. So you know what? She even the hobbies are kind of hardcore.
And 36, she's out here repping for us old heads. So
Davina on the knees
fits right in here at the ITC. So, Belgium outside of, they're in a tough group, probably going to be cannon fodder in Group B and for this tournament more broadly. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm interested to get to know some of these players.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Number 20 in the FIFA rankings. I can't remember if we mentioned that already. It's going to be a tough go, but that's why they play the games.
Let's go. Let's do it. All right. Let's scoot down the alphabet. Where are we at?
We're going to Italy. They did not make it out of the group in the 2022 Euros. Oh, and I should mention they're ranked number 13 in the FIFA rankings, which
nice.
Intellectually doesn't blow my mind, but I think they've climbed. I don't know.
Yes,
Our pals will correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like they definitely climbed since the 23 World Cup.
I want to say they were mid 20s to low 20s around that time.
I think that tracks. They had two losses in that 22 Euros, and they were only able to muster a draw versus Iceland. But they got some stalwarts on here, so I'm gonna look at the defense too. Look, you're in a group with Portugal and Spain. Martina Lenzini, 26-year-old from Juventus. Elena Linari, 31-year-old from our pals over at
Let's
Roma.
go.
And of course, Lucia Di Giulielmo, 27-year-old, also from Roma. Those three are going to need to hold up. And I think if you're going to look, if you're really fighting this thing out against Portugal, then that's probably the match you're going to win. And I think a stalwart, defensive, classic Italian performance is probably what you can use to catapult yourself to that win.
Yeah, I think it is going to come down to those two sides, and probably, Portugal likes to play up and down, more high scoring, kind of like letting it rip, and you know, they've. I guess we can go right to Portugal because they do come before.
Let me do one more thing. So that matchup against Portugal is on Monday, July 7th, but I would be remiss if I did not talk about into the channel favorite Valentina Giacinti from Roma, who is not in this squad and who I
Oh no!
mentioned before. I totally didn't realize she didn't get the call up. It's not an injury.
Whoa!
Just didn't get the call up. And I was looking, I was trying to I was doing a lot of Google Translate. I was trying to look through Blue Sky to figure out what the deal was. Martina Piemonte, 27-year-old forward, she scored 17 goals for Lazio in Serie A Feminile. And it seems like we talk about on this podcast a lot, sometimes information can be a little tricky to find on women's football, especially international women's football here in the States. Any of our pals, please correct me if I'm wrong. So shout out to Giacinti. We love, the doggedness in her game. We'll have to see what Italia looks like. They still have Manuela Giuliano, who everybody knows, who consumed the Champions League. She's a genius passer, can dictate the play. Her running mate at Roma and her running mate in that 23 World Cup was Giacinti. It's going to be interesting to see what her chemistry looks like otherwise. But I couldn't forget Valentina. If we're talking about Italy and it's the ITC, I had to mention her.
Yeah, no, great shout. Well worth the mention. And yeah, that's not going to be the last player that we couldn't find anything on with regard to why they're not on some of these rosters. So we're out here doing our best trying to cover. But yeah, I mean, if we could get some more coverage and get some more answers out on the general WOSO internet, that would be awesome. But we're out here doing what we can. All right, so let's shift gears to Portugal. It looks like we both agree that they'll be battling for that second spot out of Group B. Portugal's got an interesting squad. So, to get into the Euros, they toppled the mighty Azerbaijan and then moved on to take on the even mightier Czechia in the Euro qualifying playoff final. Got it done, got into this tournament. Earlier this week, though, 0-0 draw versus Nigeria. This was at home. They held almost 60% of the ball, more shots on target. Basically ran into Chimaka Inadozi, 4 saves for Inadozi. No Kika Nazareth in that one. We talked about their scoring. I think Portugal's going to be looking to both of the Silvas. Diana Silva, 29 years old, Diana Silva, 44 goals and 75 appearances for Sporting CP, 26 goals for Portugal, for the senior national team. Jessica Silva, 30 years old, hasn't quite gotten her footing at Gotham. Really, hasn't been able to capture that Benfica magic anywhere else in her career other than Benfica. She's got 24 goals, 38 appearances during her time there. We'll see if Jessica Silva can kind of put it together in this tournament. The last player I wanted to mention, Joanna Marcao, 28 years old, plays for Servette. So we got a look at Joanna in Champions League qualifying. But yeah, she scored a banger against Roma on a free kick from about 26 yards out. She is a defender for Portugal, 28 years old. And this team's got super long odds. I think longer, a little bit long, plus 5,000 to win the whole tournament. That's longer than Iceland and Switzerland. Seems a little fat, but I think this Portugal side is at least going to push Italy for that spot in the quarterfinals, for that second spot out of Group B.
Got to. Kika Nazareth was sidelined for some important matches toward the end. She's hungry. She's going to lead that squad. and we've talked about it with some teams, a lot of Sporting players, a lot of Benfica players on here, players who have played with each other. Obviously, Kika moved on to Barcelona, but she has some of that chemistry. Same with Jessica Silva. Portugal gave USA, even in a down World Cup, Portugal gave USA a pretty interesting run. So let's see them, and hopefully our guy Vespa checks back in
Let's go.
to check out the show and talk about Portugal with us.
Yeah, let's go, Vespa. Hope you're all right. And drop a little something. Let us know you're doing okay. And you already know your boy's going to grab Portugal in the draft. So I'll be locked into Portugal. And one more team in Group B, Spain. Another one of my squads here. Plus 200 to win the tournament. Overwhelming favorite. I mean, what are you going to say? These are the champs right here. They're good. They're good at football. Katakoy, just 23 years old. How's that possible?
Yeah.
That one really shocked me. Through the Nations League, though, 6 matches there, they didn't really super overwhelm. They only had a plus 13 goal differential, 21-4-8 against. They gave up goals in pretty much 5 of those 6 matches, including conceding in both of the Belgium matches, both of the Portugal matches, and then conceding to England. I'm sorry, they conceded in all 6 because they lost to England in the first one, but they closed out the group stage with those 2 Claudia Pina thunder strikes to kind of like take that one and steal the group. My one question for Spain, this is not even really a question. What do they do from an attacking standpoint? Because I'll just read to you who they've got listed at forward. And then you in your head tell me what 3 that you would rock with. Mariona Caldense, Atenea, Lucia Garcia, Esther Gonzalez, Cristina Martin Prieto, Salma Pariuelo, Claudia Pina, and Alba Redondo.
It's a lot. It's a lot of talent.
That might be the hardest question we tackle the whole podcast. Pick 3 of these players.
That's a lot of good players. I mean, I think you might have to. It's hard because you can't even really cheat and be like, well, I'm going to move Mariona to the midfield because Patry, Bonmati, and Puteas. Oh, no, wait.
Bonmati, yeah.
Bonmati, which obviously, get well to the legend. I did see something that was like, she wants to play, and I would want to see Bonmati play. However, I'm not an expert in these things, but I think if something is called viral meningitis, something tells me it's probably not safe to play with like other people on the field. So I don't know what decisions have to be made there. So that's got to be heartbreaking for Bonmati. Hopefully she can rest and take some time, not be contagious at some point. And please, again, it's a learning podcast about football. It's a learning podcast about the virality of meningitis. If I'm wrong about this, please somebody correct me here. But if that's the case, then I think you move Caldente to the midfield. And to answer your question, I think I would play. I'll play Pina on the left. I'll play Del Castillo on the right, and I'll play. This is gonna sound. I don't know. Tell me if it sounds crazy. I think I'm gonna play Esther Gonzalez at the 9 over Perejuelo and bring Perejuelo on as a change of pace.
Yeah. No, I think I would do the same thing. And then, even Esther versus Alba Redondo is a real.
Yeah, you still got Redondo.
That's a tough one.
Yeah,
it's a real. Martin Prieto is like also like a great finisher up top. I mean, they can't really go wrong. But yeah, definitely get well. Aitana, not surprised if she wants to play. I mean, she could be, she could be Tacoma who still want to play. I have to imagine such a fierce competitor.
I think one of the quotes I saw was like, she doesn't care if her temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, which, I'm a dumb American. I know that's high for Celsius, but also, and I understand her willingness and her desire to play, but let's make sure, you always got to keep the athletes safe. They want to play. That's how they reach the levels that they reach, but you got to make sure that she's not putting herself at any kind of real risk. And when you have something that's viral, you want to make sure she's not putting anybody else at any potential risk. Yeah,
no doubt. But either way, let's get Aitana back in this tournament. Let's get her back healthy ASAP. Well, healthy first and foremost, and then back in the tournament soon thereafter. All right, so Group B. Let's make some predictions. I can go first here. Obviously, Spain. I think I've got Spain winning the group. I'm going to put it out there. I think Give me Portugal. I think the football gods not happy that the patrons, one of the patron saints of the ITC, Valentina Giacchini, not on the roster. I think the football gods will take their piece for that and allow Portugal to survive. So give me Portugal and Spain. That whole peninsula will be popping right before the knockout stage kicks off.
I'm trying to do the math, but we do an honest show here. We're honest brokers. I agree with you. Even if, because I'm trying to decide, like, from the tournaments that we've seen, from the matches we've seen, is Italy that much further ahead of Portugal? Kind of like I always described it as like a country's like footballing journey, so to speak. I don't think so. I don't think a lot really separates.
I don't think so.
These two teams.
Like their domestic league's better, but like I don't know, Champions League they've each had teams had success. I mean, I don't know that there's a great case to be like, oh well, Italy. I mean, 23 World Cups. I mean, I had completely not really blanked out, but that USA Portugal match that was super highly contested, and Italy did not totally show up for that 23 World Cup. They weren't really any kind of factor in that tournament.
Yeah. Okay, so nothing against Italy. I like a lot of those players, but yeah,
nothing against any of these teams. By the way,
that's true. Yeah, that is true. I can't think
all these teams. Yeah, we're Americans. Neither of us are you.
Yeah, that is true. I can't think of one team that I'm going to be like they're not going to make it out with prejudice. I don't like this team. Yeah, that is true. I don't think I'm gonna levy any accusations like that. So okay, that's fair. Yeah, I'm going to go with Spain and Portugal. But you know what happens when you get a 3-team race when only two teams can make it out of the group stage? I'm just gonna put this out into the ether. Group B, potential group of life.
Gotta wait and see.
Yeah.
But I mean, Belgium, they're the real linchpin to see how much life is in this actual group. I think you need 4. I think you need 4 legit contenders.
I think that might be fair, but I'm doing a thing.
Group of life? I like it. All right, let's keep moving down the alphabet. Group C.
Group Charlie, alphabetical in order here. Back to you, my good man. What do you say we talk about Denmark?
I love it. Let's go Denmark plus 2,000 to win the whole thing. I think that's a pretty live number. You look at this Denmark side. Well, first off, finished third in their Nations League group, behind Sweden, behind Italy. Not awesome. This side's got 3 NWSLers though. Isabella Obeys, who plays for Portland. 4 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss in her 9 appearances. 87% pass completion. Most of her minutes at center back. Josephine Hasbo plays for Gotham, 23-year-old, made her debut versus Bay FC, got 45 minutes of burn there. And then Yanni Thompson plays for Utah, rugged midfielder, 13 appearance, mostly on the right-hand side, mostly at right back, but in the 90th percentile on shots, successful take-ons, and blocks from her position, according to FB Ref. Scored versus Sweden, scored versus Italy, scored 2 goals versus Spain in the 24 Nations League. And then, they've got some attacking talents. I mean, pretty hard. You already know what time it is. I mean, this is a winning player. Scored the winner versus Wales in a 1-0 victory. Signe Brun, Emily Vangsgaard both scored in a 2-1 win over Wales. You were talking about not being able to get, like fully up to date info. Sophie Svava, I was not able to find anything on the Lyon standout not showing up for this Denmark team. Did a good amount of digging, couldn't find literally anything.
Yeah, I don't know either. Haven't heard.
Yeah, so Sophie doesn't appear on this list. Great season for Lyon. I mean, I'd be shocked if it was football related. And then the last little note here, quick shout out to 37-year-old Nadia Nadim from Hammarby. Absolute legend. I'll always remember this player because this was one of the first players that I was introduced to. And then shout out to one of our guys, Raj Bennett, Men in Blazers. We don't really talk about Men in Blazers. A very seminal podcast for your boy being introduced to European football for sure. So shout out Raj. Him and I share a birthday. I tweeted him probably once a year, and he usually likes my tweet. Wishing him happy birthday.
Amazing.
I wish happy birthday to my birthday brethren, Raj Bennett, Jimmy Butler, Nasty Nas, and Amy Winehouse. Those are my big four that we share. September 14th as a B-Day. So shout out to Raj Bennett, but he did a great interview years back with Nadia Nadim that just kind of stuck in my head, and just was a great influential talker, podcaster for me personally. So, and I don't think we really talk about him or that show much on this show. So I want to give him a quick shout.
Yeah, I mean, dude, absolute legend. Great author, absolutely hilarious. I mean, very clearly influences from that program to this program. I'll have to go back in the archives and check out the Nadia Nadim interview. I mean, obviously, I paid attention, when we were looking at Hammerby, but no, that's fantastic. I mean, Senior Brune on this team, like I want to see like what she looks like in this tournament. So, Denmark looking pretty live, I would say. Ranked number 12 in the FIFA rankings for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. In Group C, I mean, they're a little bit up against it. Denmark, Germany, Poland, Sweden. I'm not sure if they're odds on to get out of the group, but I mean, they'll have a shot. And that leads me, for sticking with the alphabet here, to Germany. Group C, got to be the favorites in Group C. You look at what this team did. I talked about the goal differential for Spain. Germany, a different story. 26-4, 4 goals against, plus 22. And then in those 6 matches, this is wild. 12 different goal scorers in 6 Nations League matches for Germany. So check this out. Lea Schuler, Shuka Nuskin, Linda Dahlmann, Hoffman, Endemann, Elisa Sens, Corey Zakai. Is that everybody? Sarai Linder, Cersei, Cla Boule, and La Fai Gang. That rounds out to 12. So they definitely got busy in the Nations League. This is just a high-powered team with a lot of great players. The other fun stat with 12 different goal scorers, I don't think anybody had more than, well, Cersei had 4 because she had a hat trick against Scotland. That was the high. But not the same player scoring every time, like a lot of distribution in terms of like who's getting the ball in the back of the net.
Just, unbelievable talent all over the field. It's funny that you mentioned like the diversity in sense of all the different players who scored for Germany, but then you give that list of players. It's like, okay, she's awesome. She's great. She's extremely good. And it's just like, oh, okay. They just have a ton of great players who can score. So, and they're all over the field too. I was keeping my eye out to be like, okay, who are the defenders that you're going to mention? You mentioned, Sarah Linder, Julia Gavin is just, short list, one of the best, easily short list, one of the best defenders in the world, short list, one of the better players in the world as well.
Yeah, it might be one of their best players. Might be their best player. We'll see.
No doubt.
Certainly their captain on many days. And I think the story always with Germany is kind of like, can they score in these big matches? We know that they're going to be able to possess, kind of like move the ball box to box, but then kind of breaking through against those top defenses. We'll see if some of these players, and I think the other thing, the age profile, just looking at the forwards, Eula Braun, 21, Klabuhl, 23, Cersei's 25, Freigang's 25, Hoffman, who plays for Leipzig's 26, as is Lea Schuler, and then Cora Zakai, who plays for Wolfsburg, is 20. And that's the age profile pretty much up and down the roster. You got Ann Katrinberg, who's 33, Catherine Henrich, who moved over to Chicago Star, she's 31. And then the other 2 players that are over 30, Sarah Debritz and Linda Dahlmann. Everybody else is, in their 20s, kind of like prime age, with a lot of young players as well. So they're kind of really, really well positioned. I think at the end, I'd want to do some high level predictions on what we think for the tournament. I thought long and hard about how far I think this German team can go and where I would see them kind of like ending this run and how deep. And yeah, spoiler alert, they might appear in my final. I'm not totally fully locked into a pick yet. So I'm going to wait for the rest of this preview to play out.
I think I already said in our draft, there was a moment of geography in there, and shout out to our pal Blue, ITC legend, boy named Blue on YouTube, tried to help me out and be like on whether Finland is in the Nordics. Wikipedia says Finland's in the Nordics for what it's worth. This is all to say I'm not great with geography, but I believe Germany is pretty close to Switzerland. I think there will likely be a big German presence in Switzerland. So if you think about like any kind of like home field advantage, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
or at least like, the ability for fans to easily travel into those, into those fields, into those stadiums, I think that's live for Germany.
Yeah, just traverse that Black Forest and we're in business. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if the Black Forest is in the direction there. You might
We're a geography podcast now. Yay. All right. Let's keep it pushing here. Poland. And now I get to use a word that, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if we've used this word yet. Let's hear it for the debutantes.
Hey.
First time in the European Championship, Poland is ranked number 27 in the FIFA rankings right now. I am expecting the Poles to do some physical defending. I think you see that from teams that are just kind of new in the game and are like, all right, let's muck this thing up. Olivia Vaz, nicknamed The Wall by coach Nina Patalon, listed at 6 feet tall. And let me just tell you, obviously, the shadow executive producer of this program, the inventor of quote-unquote tall girl bias, obviously already rooting for her as a fellow tall girl. But I just want to point out Olivia Vaz, she's had some development in the United States of America. She spent 1 year at Wake Forest, but much more importantly, 48 appearances for the Indiana Hoosiers, the University of Indiana. And if you know one thing that your boy is here for, it's some Big Ten football. So I'm very interested to see Olivia Vaz play. And the next question, I mean, obviously, look, we're talking about Poland. I think everybody knows. And Olivia Vaz plays for Nuremberg, for what it's worth for anybody who's curious. 25 years old. Obviously, you're talking about Eva Pajor, one of the best number 9s in the world. Monstrous season. First season stepping into Barcelona, has been a killer for Wolfsburg for years before that, obviously. But I found myself asking, if you're going to get Poland and they're going to play physical defense and they're going to try to get the ball forward, like everybody's going to expect that they're going to try to get it to Pajor. Who is that other attacking player who might be able to take some of the pressure off? Let's talk about Natalia Padilla Bidas. And, help me out if I'm butchering that pronunciation. But the 22-year-old scored 11 goals for Sevilla this Liga F season. And she scored another 5 in the Euro qualifiers. So
let's go.
Their recipe is going to have to be, let's play some hard-nosed defense. Let's try, they're going up against Germany, Denmark, and Sweden. So goals are going to be at a premium in all of those matches anyway, considering the way, especially Sweden plays. Like, you're going to have to, get past their defense in some way. And if you're going to have the great defenders on Sweden keying in on Pajor, somebody else is going to have to be able to do something.
Yeah, I think that's usually how it breaks. And when there's such a superlative talent on one squad that also outpaces sort of the rest of the team, what we usually see is some stalling out, and then we might see a big Pajor goal at some point. And for I hate to use the term, but for a debutante nation, that is a step forward and something that you have to do to kind of get on the process of kind of growing as a footballing country. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I think they're just up against it in Group C. This group's got some big dogs for sure. And you've got the next one on the docket, Sweden.
I do. Let's talk about Sweden. Won their group in 2022 in the Euros. They're currently ranked number 6 in the FIFA rankings. In 2022, they beat Belgium 1-0 in the quarterfinal and then got cracked by the Lionesses in the semifinals. Lost 4-0. For anybody who might remember, Beth Mead, Lucy Bronze, Alessia Russo, Frank Kirby scored all 4 of those goals. If anybody wanted to reminisce on those, I want to talk about 20-year-old forward Ellen Vongerheim. Played at Hammarby. We saw her in the Champions League. Loved her activity. She has 10 goals and 11 appearances in the Damallsvenskan this year. She started the year, I think she had a hat trick and then 2 goals and then 1 goal in her first 3 matches. So she had 6 goals in the first 3 matches. The pace has slowed down a little bit, but I want to say 10 goals and 11, still pretty good. One of the things that I just noticed in the Hammarby versus Manchester City matches particularly that really stuck out to me, and I know this is probably maybe a little basic in terms of like football analysis, but whenever there was space available between the midfielders and the defenders, she was on it right away and could really kind of take advantage of that space. She just like had a nose for it of like, hey, I'm open. Like, and that was sometimes at a premium when City was kind of up and humming in that Champions League group stage. So I think she's a phenomenal player. Only 20 years old. It can be tricky in these kind of tournaments, but I can't wait to see what she has for Sweden out there.
Yeah, I think Sweden's interesting. They've got the defenders, they've got the forwards. Jennifer Falk, goalkeeper, 32 years old. You already know that's a rock solid solution there. In the midfield, it's a little thin. They've got Engeldahl, they've got Sofia Jakobsen, 35-year-old Jakobsen, Madeline Yanogi, who's good. I know she plays in Serie A somewhere.
Yanogi is Fiorentina.
Yeah, Fiorentina. Lena Hurtig. Freeland Ralph JRK up front, Rebecca Bloomquist. They've got, it's really going to come down to can they get the ball upfield? Can they hold the ball for a little bit? Can they give those attacking players a chance to score? I think defensively they'll hold up. It's really just going to be that kind of battle. And a team like Denmark, I don't know, could give them some problems. I think Denmark, if I'm not mistaken, they put together regular size midfield. I thought they had like kind of like an expanded midfield, but they've got talent there, obviously led by Yanni Thompson. So I think that's going to be the battle. I think for Group C, Denmark, Sweden. Sweden should have it, but I feel like Denmark is sort of maybe within striking distance, could make it interesting.
Yeah, I think so, man. I think I might be a little more. Obviously, Sweden and Germany are giants. Like you know what it is with those two teams. I think this group might be a little more interesting than you. I think we might differ on that a little bit. I want to say, like, you named some of the players, but it just in my notes, at one point I'm just going over everything. I just wrote, well, damn, this team has a lot of good to great players, and just Jennifer Falk in goal, Magdalena Eriksson. Plays at Bayern Munich. Natalie Bjorn from Chelsea. Amanda Ilestedt, currently a free agent, but like was a monster in the last World Cup. Won the bronze boot, if I remember correctly. Felipa Engeldahl, Real Madrid. Kosovare Aslani from London City Lionesses. JRK from Chelsea. Johanna Ritting-Kanerud. Stina Blackstenius from the Champions League winners Arsenal. And you mentioned Bloomquist, Yanogi, and Rolfo from Barcelona. They got a lot of players with experience, winning experience. And I just want to read this quick quote from Sofia Jakobsen. She's 35 years old. She asked for her contract to be terminated from San Diego Wave last year and joined London City Lionesses. At 35 years old, here's one of her latest quotes. Quote, "Everyone thinks I should retire, but I won't." End quote. I like that. And then this is from The Guardian, their player preview. I love this piece of reporting as well. She arrived in Switzerland full of confidence. She said, quote, "We're truly a tournament team. If we get everything in place, I believe we can go really far, just like we usually do." End quote. And I was just like, talk your talk, Sophia. You know what? You usually do go far because you guys are fucking awesome. So you know what? Let's go.
Love it. That's some real ITC energy right there that we got to be able to appreciate. All right, so Group C, who's making it out?
It's Sweden and Germany, but I think it's going to be close.
Okay, that's a long pause.
But I think it's going to be closer than you might think it is, and I think there are going to be some tough matches in there. I think we'll get a Nevapayor moment or two. And I just want to say, when you have that, and I think there might be some doubt on match day 3, and when you put all that in a big old stew, and you think about the intrigue, and you think, whoa, could you imagine if Germany doesn't make it through? What a disaster that would be. Or like, man, Sweden hasn't been able to score. Like they've been playing too defensive. They haven't been able to do it. You put all that into the mix, I think Group C is a group of life contender.
Group of life? I'm going to pick the upset. Give me Germany and Denmark. Get into the knockout stage. I think when you look at the attackers, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Oh, and then quick correction. I mentioned Nadia Nadim is with Hammarby right now. That's a new signing. So that's why she wasn't on our radar when we were covering Hamry for Champions League. Just so
There we go.
just to clear the air there. But I think the attacking players are there, and Denmark feels like a team that's been, like a third tier team, a second and a half tier team, and like that would be a real nice step forward. And it's one of those things that's within reach. Like when you look at some of these teams, like whether it's like I don't know, I don't want to pick on anybody, but let's say Finland in Group A. I don't think they could get out, but I'm not sure, there's a certain hierarchy and, where you have to be able to get to a certain point to be able to like say, we expect to get out. I feel like Denmark is a team that, even though the odds don't say that we expect that to happen, they expect to be able to get to the quarterfinal. I think they've been in enough of these tournaments and they have enough talent. I don't think that they could look at, each other in the dressing room and be like, we're up against it today. I think they feel like they can win, they can compete, even with the Germanys in this group. So something tell me that Denmark's going to be really interesting come next week.
I think that's totally fair. So you just hit me with the total fake out. We were talking a couple minutes ago. You make it sound like it's like guaranteed to be complete chalk, and now you're the one out here with the bold pick. Another clever move by Dino that chalk it up on the scoreboard once again. Ankle's broken. I'm on the floor while you shoot the jump shot. It's like, oh boy, I hope that doesn't go in.
No, honestly, I'm not. I didn't make any knockout stage picks until now. I wanted to, I need to absorb the preview. I need to, pick up some of these nuggets. I only really deep dove on eight teams. I need some of these data points from your teams, and I don't want to say you didn't sell me on Sweet. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I fell a little bit in some feelings were starting to flutter between me and Denmark. So let's see what happens this week when the ball starts rolling around out there. All right, are we ready for Group D?
I think we are, and it's been a while, my good man. Now we've been trying to produce shorter shows. Obviously, we had 16 teams to cover here. It's Saturday night. Enjoying myself. Obviously, always enjoy talking the football with you. Before we get to Group Delta, I think it's for the first time in a long time, and I probably shouldn't make such a big show of it. I'm gonna do a 2-beer show. You know what?
All right, let's do it.
Why not? Secret sauce behind this, though, is I'm in my late 30s. Some might call it my latest 30 for a few more months. I'll be real sleepy after 2 of these. So that's kind of how that goes for your boy now. But that's okay. I hit the gym earlier. I'm a little tired. So, I think 2 will do it for your boy in one night at this point of being washed.
Listen, I'm not going to go full Mike Lowry, Marcus Burnett, but, we ride together. we pass out early together. Mm-hmm. I'm going to grab myself a second beer. For those who don't know, I record from my little kitchenette area. So that little guy right there is the refrigerator. So give me one quick second. I'll scoot back there. And I'll be right back.
The magic of editing. Look at that.
Cheers to you. 2-beer show.
2-beer show. Cheers to you. I use this metal koozie thing. I'm not going to do an advertisement because nobody's giving us money for it. But in anticipation of the 2-beer show, I was like, okay, I'll get the koozie out there and keep this thing cool.
Oh, double koozie. Yeah. I made the mistake of flashing this can in front of the camera. So old so-and-so corporation got a little free. So that's all right. They make a tasty product.
We'll get them next time. Yeah, there you go. Maybe the partnership is brewing. Who knows?
Yeah, I like that. No pun intended.
So let's talk about Group D. I think that's probably enough of a digression at this point. Who's in Group D? Let me take a look. Take a look alphabetical order. Ranked number 5, criminally low in the FIFA rankings, if you ask me. Yes, the Lionesses of jolly old England. A team that I've been supporting, at least in footballing terms, again, hand raised. When in caveman times when I was growing up, there was zero information on the Lionesses when I was growing up, but I just decided to support the 3 Lions when I was a kid in 97, playing FIFA on Super Nintendo. Again, another digression. But I've been rocking with England for a while. You can probably tell by looking at me. I think my ancestors are from that part of the world. Big shocker there. So I've been recapping what each team has done in the past. They won the 2022 Euros in thrilling fashion over Germany. Chloe Kelly goal in the 111th minute. Absolutely iconic moment. That went pretty well. It was fun to watch. I enjoyed it greatly. Beth Mead had 6 goals and 4 assists in that tournament. And now
Jeez.
you think about that confidence. She was tied for first. I think she was tied for first with Alex Pop. Please, again, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I think she was tied with 6 goals, tied on 6 goals with Alex Pop in that Euros. But then I think she led the tournament with the 4 assists. So I believe she was the Golden Boot winner. And now the 30-year-old is coming into this tournament. And I don't think, she'll have a role on this team. She has to. She's Beth Mead. But now she's coming into this with that in her back pocket. I've already won the Euros. I had a great performance. And now I'm walking in off a UEFA Women's Champions League win. You think Beth Mead is feeling pretty confident right now?
I would have to imagine she's feeling pretty confident. I'd have to imagine that England is feeling pretty confident heading into this tournament.
I think so. Some of the matches, like whether they're friendlies or like Nations League, have been a little up and down. I mean, we've been doing this show long enough. You've known me long enough to where I try to keep a pretty level head about things. But then when I talk about my teams, you often get a good chuckle out of me, who likes to try to consider myself level-headed guy. And then some things happen and I'm just like, all right, enough of this. And then I'm not level-headed guy anymore when I start talking about the teams that I really cheer for. So there have been some moments that have been really frustrating. I think there was a friendly against Germany where I told you if England plays defense like that, they're drawing dead against every good team in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That was not enjoyable. But I've given Beth Mead. Obviously, I got high hopes for what she'll do. I think she'll. Well, I don't want to spoil it. I've given Beth Mead as a player that I want to watch. But in terms of other players that I want to watch, I want to see everybody play. I'm going to watch every minute of every Lionesses match. I might have to work on some of the days that they're playing. I will avoid social media, which is always a nice bonus of doing this kind of thing. And instead of just giving you another preview of another player that I want to talk about, to my starting 11, if you will, if you don't mind indulging me, as if this podcast was not enough of an indulgence already.
Not at all. Actually, before I indulge you, I got to go back and clean up a little thing that you mentioned the Shadow EP earlier. Your boy caught wind of some. You put me on the spot last episode. From an Arsenal standpoint,
unbelievable.
Asking me how I felt versus in the Avery Patterson versus Emily Fox discussion. So, and then somebody else, I think Kobe, in our YouTube comments also called me out. So. Between those three, I understand. It might sound a little silly. And obviously, I support the U.S. Women's National Team. I support Arsenal. I support Emily Fox through and through. But I'm doubling down.
Oh, my
And I'm making the claim right now. Wow. In the 2027, I want everybody to hear this. Just stop what you're doing. Close all your tabs. Close all your windows. I want everybody listening to what I'm saying. 2027, the right back starter for the U.S. Women's National Team will be the freight train that is Avery Patterson. You know where to find me. I'm not hard to find. If you want to talk about it, you already know what time it is. All right. Sorry for that digression. I had to just kind of circle back. Close the loopy loop.
No, that's amazing. I couldn't believe. I mean, we're already here. I couldn't believe that you were so quick. Like I thought I was doing a thing by being like, Avery Patterson better than Emily Fox, huh? And I expected you to just immediately smack that down and be like, not her time yet. Emily Fox literally just won the Champions League, was a huge part in that. And you totally shocked me, man. Once again, your boy's caught flat-footed, and you're AI stepping over Tyronn Lue, and I'm just sitting there like, well, shit, I didn't expect that to happen.
there's no way to kind of plot out where the show might go. Case in point, but yeah, I just think she's a tremendous. Like her potential.
Awesome.
We saw this with Lily Johannes. We've seen this with a couple other players. When you see how high the ceiling goes, for me as a sports watcher, it's hard to turn that off and be like, hey, damn, especially when a player that plays like that could be that hungry. I'm like, yeah, I'd bet on that player reaching that ceiling, and now it's just a matter of will it happen. So yeah, your boy's doubling down. Let's go. I'm here. I'm ready. So back to regularly scheduled programming.
And that concludes our England preview of the Euros. Avery Patterson versus Emily Fox. Okay, sorry to all my pals in England who have to just be, what are you on about, mate? Okay, hold on a second.
What's he on about?
Whole reset here. Okay. We got a lot of Arsenal players. Back to it. Yeah, we got a lot of Arsenal players. Like, whatever. Okay, yeah, we had to get that off our chest, though. Okay, here's the 11 I'd like to see. Wiegman. The lineup kind of changes. Obviously, it depends on if you're in attack or if you're playing in defense. If you have the ball, like right on possession, etc. Wiegman's a genius coach. She's coached the last 2 Euros winners, Netherlands in 17 and then England in 22 because obviously COVID delayed the 21. Yeah, of course. Everybody knows that. We don't need a digression into remember COVID at this point. The show's probably fat enough. So
March 2020.
So, she's been trotting out like a 4-3-3 or something that pretty much looks like a 4-3-3. I'm going to go with a 4-2-3-1, obviously, but you could turn this into a 4-3-3 if you want.
Can I piggyback and also do my 11 too? Obviously, I love this. I love this squad. And
yeah,
I've got some things to say about this 11. I wish we had done the Spain 11, but that's all right. Well, I feel like we covered some good ground there. But I don't know. I just want to play the England 11 game with you.
Okay. How do you want to do it? Do you want to go unit by unit? First. Or you just want me to do my full 11? Okay.
No. Unit by unit. You're the home team. You go first.
Okay. Let's just get out of the way. Hannah Hampton in goal.
Anna Morehouse. Got it.
Wow. Are you Morehouse in goal?
Come on, man. Of course.
Okay. All right. You're out of your mind. That's fine. Hannah Hampton. I'll raise my hand. Like early on, I was just like,
you don't like clean sheets? Not into clean sheets. It's not that.
I do. I mean, some of the goals that some of the saves that Hampton has been able to produce at Chelsea, really, I wasn't like skeptical of Hannah Hampton. Like I realized that, Emma Hayes brought her into Chelsea for a lot of reasons. But there were moments this past year where I was like, she is that goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. Like she is fantastic. So as a shot stopper, could play from her feet, whole deal. Okay. Back 4. I'm going to go left to right. Niamh Charles, Alex Greenwood, Leah Williamson, Lucy Bronze.
I like it. Yeah, I wouldn't make any changes there. I'm with that. I'm with that back 4.
Okay. Yeah, obviously love what Charles can bring, running up and down the left-hand side. Bronze can do the same, but Bronze, 5-time Champions League winner. Now you have, Williamson with a Euros and a Champions League under her belt.
Lucy, big game bronze.
Lucy, back to that. Big game bronze.
I'm interested to see if Esme Morgan's going to be able to break through here and get some minutes.
I feel like on Lioness's social media, Morgan has some good matches, and then Morgan has some moments where it's just like, ooh, boy, I don't like that decision making. And Alex Greenwood coming back off the injury just looked way better than I expected.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what the matchups dictate. I think Esme Morgan, that's a great call. He's a wild card. Probably going to be situational, but a player that athletically fits the profile might be a player to go to in a specific spot or maybe late in a match. What about midfielders?
So I mentioned the 4-2-3-1. I'm not exactly going to reinvent anything here. My 2 holding defensive midfielders, 2 of the better holding defensive-minded midfielders in the world, Keira Walsh, Georgia Stanway.
Yep, got to go with it. So, two of my favorite players, definitely two of my favorite players in the world. Um, England a little, I mean, sort of thin at midfield. I know they've got Jess Park listed as a forward. She might be an option at midfield. But yeah, the only other two midfielders mentioned, Ella Toone and Grace Clinton. And then obviously you would throw Jess Park in there, and then maybe LJ could get some minutes deeper as well. You know, she could certainly float. But yeah, no argument there. I would also go Walsh and Stanway. And now this is the part that I actually want to kind of get into, because much like Spain, a ton of options up front to pick from.
Yeah, and I view it's a great call out by you. Jess Park is a midfielder. I mean, by trade,
Yeah.
she's an attacking midfielder. That's fine, but like calling her a forward, I feel like feels like a bridge too far. You know how I feel. I mean, we have been from Jump Street of like us really diving into the sport, from us watching the sport. Lauren James is one of the superlative talents in the world. I love the smoothness to her game. She's better off as a midfielder, I think, somebody who can kind of dictate the pace and then still
Yep.
get forward and totally fool the opponent's defense. So let's talk about those front three. You have to go on the left wing. You have to go Lauren Hemp, who has looked in good form coming back off the injury, was in dynamite form at the beginning of the Champions League. So give me Lauren Hemp on the left. Give me Lauren James in the middle. Give me Chloe Kelly on the right wing. And then obviously, tip of the spear, it has to be Alessia Russo.
Love it. That's where I would go as well. I mean, some tough calls to make, because that puts Beth Mead on the bench, Aggie Beaver Jones on the bench.
Yeah, well, let me do the obnoxious thing when we think about this lineup, because the next thing I have in my notes here. So off the bench, Beth Mead, Jess Carter, Ella Toone, Aggie Beaver Jones, Jess Park, Lotta Wubben Moy. That sounds like a team that can win this tournament once again.
I like it. Yeah, I think definitely deep enough. I think this is going to be a tournament that's going to come down to moments, and I think that's where England should feel really good. They've won this tournament before. Well, I talked about the age profile of Germany. The age profile on the England side, I feel like a little smidge older. So you've got that not quite last chance, last dance situation, but you have players that want to defend their title. I don't feel like it's a slam dunk. They should be there. This is a team that should reach at least the semifinals, and I think once you get there, it's just which way is the ball going to bounce. I really do feel like I don't think that there's a flat out favorite, even Spain in this tournament. I think you could see a team like that get beat in the semifinals if it's a bad matchup and not their best.
Yeah, totally fair. I think that it's going to come down. You mentioned big dogs earlier in this, and now we're not talking underdogs. We're talking about the big dogs. If the inflection matters here, a lot of big dogs in this tournament, and there's going to be some luck involved, but it's because you make your own luck. Luck is the great sports cliche. Luck is the intersection of skill and opportunity. And so you're going to have a lot of that in a lot of moments of these matches. I think another thing that we've said on this podcast that I always say is like every match is its own ecosystem of weird bounces, good decisions, bad decisions, like questionable managerial decisions, genius managerial substitutions or adjustments. England, they have to be, they're the holders. Like they have to be considered here, even if the form has looked a little wonky at times in the buildup.
The one thing that I'd be worried about with England is like, can they truly play different ways? When you think about a Spain, when you think about a Germany, when you think about a France, who's also in this group, Netherlands in this group, it takes different makeups, different tactical game plans, different lineups to be able to put your best foot forward against each of those four teams, or they have different strengths. So England does feel a little bit, I don't want to say one-dimensional because they've got great players, but it does feel like you can kind of look at that lineup and kind of see what kind of football they want to play. And if there's a team out there that can, throw a monkey wrench into that, what's the adjustment there? Because I don't think it's just hey, let's take out this player and just let's put in, Aggie and see if that fixes it. I think it's gonna be a little bit more, structural, and it's just gonna be a matter of, do they have the makeup as a roster to be able to to adjust to that and play a different kind of football.
It's a great call by you. And I think, if I needed to pick managers who I trust to be able to do that, Sarina Wiegman is on the pretty short list there. So I like her as an option, but winning 2 Euros in a row, gigantic. It's a Herculean task. So it's not, and I know I just talked about how every match is a different ecosystem of different variables. Obviously, a tournament 4 years down the road, or 3 years in this case down the road, is totally different. But it's just think about the grind that it takes to get there. So you win a Euros, you make a World Cup final. Now you have some space, and now you're going to try to win the Euros again. It's a tall order, to say the least.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's shift gears to talk about another team that's going to be trying to do that same thing, not necessarily repeat, but kind of reach that mountaintop and has the talent to do it. And if my alphabetizing is correct, we should be talking about France.
Let's talk about France. Number 10 in the FIFA rankings. Won their group in 2022, 2 wins and a draw. The draw was against Iceland, as we talked about earlier. Pretty wild match. I think there was I think France scored in the first minute of that match, and then Iceland equalized in one of the last minutes of the match, in the 110th minute, or not 110th, but it was there was of course 15 minutes of extra, or of stoppage time, whatever. I digress. Then France beats Netherlands in added extra time in the quarterfinals, and then they lost to Germany to an Alex Pop brace in the semifinals. Whatever the meme is from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas of main character CJ, he starts walking into his neighborhood. He says, "Ah, shit, here we go again. Here it is with France. They have a lot of talent. There's no shortage of amazing players on this team, and we're walking into a tournament thinking surely they could win it." And you also have to consider at the same time they might put up just a puzzling performance at some time.
Yeah, it's tough to see how they aren't more competitive with the amount of talent that they put on the field. But for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to make it happen. They've had World Cup finals in the country, Nations League finals last year in the country. There might have been an Olympics in there somewhere. And we just haven't been able to see, this team really, really get all the way up to the mountaintop. Really interesting in the defender room. No Wendy Renard. That's a
choice.
That's a choice. Interesting. Defensively, some recognizable names. Obviously, Sababasha, Lisa de Almeida, Lacroix was playing great. Sambath, Grige Mbach. So the defense. I don't know. What else do we need to know about this roster? Do you feel like they put out the right 23?
It's pretty hard to say you put out the right 23 if you're just like, Wendy Renard, Eugenie Le-Sommer, don't need them. Yeah. I understand where they are in their footballing careers. Are you telling me Wendy Renard's still not one of the best defenders in the world? I don't believe that. It's just it's hard to square that, but that puts a lot of responsibility on, and you mentioned her, and I highlighted her here in my notes, Grige Mbach, 30-year-old PSG center back. We've seen quite a bit of her over the last couple of years. She's going to be the captain. She's going to have the armband. She's going to set the tone. And, when I talk about things being a tall order here, she's going to need to work with Elisa de Almeida, her PSG teammate, who, a lot of times plays center back for PSG. I think she's going to move out to I think she'll play left. I think she typically plays plays right back for France, because Basha's running up and down on the left side.
Right.
And so, they need to get that right. And Basha Ball, trademark, copyright, however that works, from Dino De Cespedes, Basha Ball is going to have to be in full effect here as an outlet, as a release valve. And, some of that's going to fall on Grige Mbach of, let's do this. We know she's a good player. You have gigantic boots to fill in Wendy Renard, and I don't expect her to be Wendy Renard, but there's still too much talent on this team to go out sad like they like they did in the Olympics.
Yeah, totally.
So a big piece of it's going to be on the defense, but then you look at this attacking talent. This is another squad where we can play your game of, okay, so what attackers are you putting out there?
Yeah, I mean, well, the three that stick out though, it's tough. I mean, well, DNE, Katoto, and Delphine Cascarino are just three monsters that it's gonna be tough to not have them in the starting lineup. Claire Mateo, another player that's playing really well for Paris FC, who's going to make it interesting. I didn't mention Sakina Karshawi, who's listed as a midfielder but can also play in the back line, and then Sandy Baltimore as well. We saw her play up top for PSG, and then as a wing back for Chelsea. So you already know she's effective anywhere. Amel Majri listed as a midfielder, yeah, super versatile. I think she gets a lot of minutes up top as well. Grace Gayoro. I mean, I think a ton of talent. I love the age profile that everybody's a little bit older. Don't like the Renards on the team or not on the team. I feel like the attacking. I feel like the front three pretty well situated with Katoto, DNE, Cascarino. Would you make any changes there?
No, I think that's probably it. I like Baltimore a lot because just the blazing speed and the passing at speed. But yeah, I guess, yeah, I like DNE on the right side. I think Cascarino likes to play on the right side, and that was part of her departure from Lyon.
From Lyon.
So,
yeah.
and Baltimore, you can play on the left side. So, I mean, I do wonder if you get that Baltimore Katoto DNE look from left to right, and then you just have Cascarino, who's played in big time World Cup matches, obviously makes the semifinal in the 19 World Cup. You have her experience coming off the bench. So, I wouldn't be totally surprised if we see Baltimore Katoto DNE and then Cascarino's coming on to give you 30 at the end of a match. And it's could just be a nightmare for opponents.
I wonder if and again, this might be a stupid idea, but I wonder if, based on what we've seen Cascarino do in NWSL for San Diego Wave, I wonder if you could play Cascarino at the 10. She's obviously distributing.
Let's go.
Dishing. Center of the park. She's a handful. You don't totally take advantage of her speed. I mean, DNE can also dish from that spot. I think they'll figure it out. They've got a lot of, I mean, a little bit different than England in the sense that they've got players that could play in different. You don't know. You look at this France side, yeah, they could do a lot of different approaches here with who they put together. So I think I will give them credit from that standpoint. They have a lot of different moves in the midfield and up the field. With who they've got, I think they're going to make it interesting.
Totally fair. I think that's a good point. And I mean, if you want to talk about playing players in different positions than some people expect, I mean, I'm your guy. Let's go. I'll sign up for that. Let's move the chess pieces around. Free your mind, man. We just got to think about player skill sets and where we want to put them on the field. I'm glad you mentioned Amel Majri, who anybody who's been hanging out with us on this program knows. Amel Majri, one of my absolute favorite players in the world, 32-year-old attacking midfielder for Lyon. Hit the great Call Me Selly a couple of years ago. It's one of and
legend.
She's the perfect player to do it too, coming off the bench for Lyon to just hit you with the Call Me after she scores a banger. Just fantastic. She was out with an ACL in the last Euros, and she wasn't selected in the last Olympic squad for France. So, which, by the way, Hervé Renard, what are you thinking, buddy? That to this day, that is a baffling decision for that Olympic squad.
Well, we heard from a little birdie that it might have come from a little higher up the Renard. Could have been political related too, unfortunately. So, we're not the only ones dealing with some of the foolishness. But anyway, we get some Amel Majri in the 2025 Euros. And I don't know, things feel a little bit more right now that we've hit that data point. I do want to get to my eighth team, my only Group D representative, the Netherlands, led by our guy. Not a big fan of the U.S. Women's National Team, but it's still uh, uh, an entertaining fella, Andres Jonker. Netherlands are plus 1,600 to win this tournament. A ton of talent too on this squad. You look at the forward room. I mean, Vivian Miedema, Rome Luchter, Lynette Bierenstein, Chastity Grant. The midfield also pretty loaded. Jackie Grunin, Vika Kaptein, Victoria Pelova from Arsenal, Jill Rohr, Daniela Van de Donk, and Damaris Egarola, Orlando Zone.
That's right.
I like this team. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not quite, pretty loaded. And I think another team with great goal distribution in the Nations League. So you look at who scores versus Scotland, it's Jill Rohr. Versus Austria, it's Kaptein, Van de Donk, and Miedema. Against Australia, it's Grunin, Damaris, and Spitzer. Against Scotland, it's Lynette Bierenstein, Chastity Grant. Against Germany, Bierenstein gets 2 at home in a 2-2 draw versus the Germans. So another team that could hit you from a lot of different ways. Obviously played the U.S. stuff in the last World Cup. I feel like has left some results on the table in these types of tournaments. I think we're generally maybe waiting for this Dutch side to elevate all the way up, all the way up to the penthouse. But I'm not sure if this is the tournament to do it. But I like what they've put together from a roster standpoint.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point by you. I mean they just it's one of those things where I used to say it about the Golden State Warriors, like during their dynastic run, where people are like, oh man, Steve Kerr, he knew when to put Andre Iguodala in the game. Great adjustment. I'd be like, okay, cool. And Steve Kerr's a great coach. He'll go to the Hall of Fame. He's one of the better coaches in the history of the league. That's fine. He's proven that out. But also, it helps when you have Andre Iguodala to put into the game, and he's great he's a great player. So I think when you look at this Netherlands team, or you talk about teams like France, England, Spain, obviously, the USA, not in this tournament, but you look at these teams that have a ton of talent. It's just like you got to be able to put a good 11 out there, and then also be able to kind of pull some strings. And the Dutch, they're right there in this class. I mean, number 11 in the FIFA rankings, made the final in the 2019 World Cup, of course, won I keep screwing this up, won the 2017 Euros. That COVID year, was tricky, if anybody remembers. Kind of threw everything off there for a little bit. But yeah, wins the 2017 Euros. You have to account for them as a team that, like you talked about with France or with England, like you think about all the great teams in this tournament. Can I make a convincing argument, or can anybody make a convincing argument why Netherlands definitely won't be in the semifinals? I don't think so. I think they could get there.
Yeah, which is wild because they also share a group with England and France, who have much shorter odds. But I mean, I didn't even get to I just focused mostly on the forward and the midfields. But you look at defensively, Esme Brooks listed as a defender who might be, on a given day, could be the most devastating offensive player, like in a moment, capable of summoning greatness there. Kirsten Kasperai from Manchester City, are you familiar with her? Sharita Spitza, the captain, Lynn Wilms from Wolfsburg. Right there, that's for professional defenders that could do it at a high level. Didn't even mention Dominique Janssen, who plays for United. And then in goal, Daphne van Damselaar. Obviously, the first experience that we got Van Damselaar, or that I got with Van Damselaar, was in that 23 World Cup. And I think she's only grown from there, still just 24 years old.
Yeah. And again, I really think it counts for something, like coming off a Champions League win. Like, you're just walking in with supreme confidence. Hey, I just won a gigantic European trophy, especially in the way that they won it. Like
Barcelona, staring down that attack.
I'm saying, there are just 6, maybe 7 teams that I just won't even really bat an eyelash at if they're in the semis or even in the final. It's just like, yeah, okay, that's an understandable result.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're on my short list for sure. Well, let's pick some. Well, we got one more squad to hit, and then let's pick some semifinalists, finalists, and pick a winner before we get out of here.
Yeah, don't you dare forget our other debutantes. I think I said that weird, debutantes. And I think in a weird twist of fate, if we even got rid of the groups and went full alphabetical order, Wales would still be last. So let's talk about Wales. Obviously, I've never appeared in Euros before. And, I'm up here in Seattle, Washington, where Jess Fishlock is a legend. She's the 2021 NWSL MVP. It's a long time coming for her to appear in this tournament. She is the legend of that program. Wales has 3 Seattle Reign players, Jess Fishlock, Ira James Turner, and Lily Woodham. Lily Woodham is out on loan to Crystal Palace at the moment. I think that loan is still going on. But this is a team full of experienced players. So obviously you have Fishlock. She's 38 years old. Sophie Ingle, 33 years old, played at Chelsea for a long time. Kaylee Barton at 37. And even Angara James Turner, who goes by Haz in the Seattle Reign FC locker room, 31 years old, 60 caps to her name for Wales. They have a bunch of WSL players all over the field. And this is just an incredible scenario for the Welsh program to get into this tournament. It's it's in the twilight of Jess Fishlock's career. She has inspired a generation of footballers after her. This is a great punctuation on an all-time career for one of their greatest footballers in the history of that country. I've talked to Jess Fishlock after victories for Seattle Reign. I've talked to Jess Fishlock after defeats for Seattle Reign FC. And she doesn't take losing well because she is just in life as a footballer, she is a winner. And so she's not showing up to just wave at everybody and say, hey, look, we did it. We made it to this tournament. They're ranked number 30 in the FIFA rankings. They're the lowest ranked team in this tournament. I can tell you, I'm not going to pretend like I know this person in any real way. She does not care, though. I can tell you that with confidence. She does not care that they're the lowest ranked FIFA team in this tournament. She's showing up to win football matches. It's going to be a tall order, but that's what she's there to do.
I believe it. I mean, tall order, that's one way of putting it. I mean, they've got 3 legit giants in that group. And as a debutante, it'll just be, I mean, the one thing in their favor, I think you mentioned their experience. I think they'll come in and, they're not going to, I don't think they're going to necessarily get rolled by anybody, or even if they do give up goals, I don't know that the games are going to necessarily get away from them in that way that we're used to seeing. So I'm excited to see some the Wales moments that kind of spring up in this tournament. But yeah, they're just drawing so short with that competition in that group.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And so if they provide a level of friskiness and determination, and they're kind of able to put a scare in a couple of the big dogs in that group, I think they will have served their purpose. But this is another one, like you mentioned, England, France, Netherlands, 3 absolute giants in the sport, and then this kind of plucky underdog in Wales. I got to tell you, Group D has some Group of Life vibes to it.
Remember that? Who do you like to get out of the group?
England is going to get out of the group. And I think I'm going to pick France. And I might regret picking France. But I think they're going to do it.
It's tough. I mean, I'll tell you what. I'm picking the Netherlands to get out of the group.
I don't blame you.
And then it's a matter of England and France. I gave it a long thought. I gave it a real long thought. Did I want to come on the show and predict that England wouldn't get out of the group? But I can't do it. I can't even do that. I can't in good conscience, seeing what we've seen, picking France to survive the group in a big high stakes tournament. So give me England and Netherlands.
Can I? I hate it so much. I hate
You wanna
betting
change?
against Viv. I hate betting against Viv Miedema. What a stupid thing. She's healthy. What a stupid thing to do. No. Take integrity. I picked France. And I'm not, and I won't do the like, well, I was in between on it. I'm not no half stepping. Our pal,
Okay.
living legend champion.
Listen, it's almost 1 p.m. I'm sorry, it's almost 1 p.m. It's almost 1 a.m. Pacific. So I'll rescind the take integrity, the cloud of take integrity. If you want to make a change here, it's late. We're loopy. 2-beer show. It's a Saturday. I want you to feel good about your picks.
There's so many good players on France. It's just maddening.
It doesn't make
these
any
last
sense.
these last couple tournaments. Do I want to bet? Do I want to say that Viv Miedema won't make it out of this group? Okay, no. I'm sticking to my story.
I like it.
Je m'appelle Grant avec into the channel. I'm picking France.
I like it. All right, so we got our group stage picks. Who do you like reaching the semifinals? Give me your 4 semifinalists.
Oh, I mean, do we know how things are reseeded and all that, or
They can go kind of any direction because any team could be in first or second, or I don't know that.
yeah.
I mean, I guess there's scenarios where 2 teams would have to meet in the semis and not the final. I don't know. I feel like we can just pick the 4 that we think would survive, and there's probably a mathematical scenario that would make that possible.
All right. So
You probably just can't pick 3 teams for one group. I think that's the only
yeah,
limiting factor.
I guess I'm not great with mathematical scenarios, but let's go with. I'm going to go a little chalky here, but I'll say Spain. I'll say Norway. Give me Norway to make the last 4. Maybe that's my bold take out of this. So give me Spain, Norway, England, and I'm going to say Sweden.
Spain,
and I think
Norway, England, Sweden.
And I think those are the 4 group winners. And so I think that could happen in the last 4.
I'm not sure how this happens. I'm not sure about the machinations, but I'm going to take Spain, Germany, England, and the Netherlands. I think however it shakes out, England and the Netherlands. Yeah, I think whoever Group D, I'm just going to assume that Group D, maybe we'll pretend that they're going to face Group A. I don't think any of those Group A teams are cut out for the semis. So that would mean that I'm picking 4 semifinal teams from B, C, and D. So I'm just going to stick with that. We'll see if it can actually happen, but those are my picks. And then in the final, again, not sure if this would happen, but I would take give me an England-Germany final. I think Spain gets bounced in the semis.
Oof.
And then give me Germany to win.
Germany to win the tournament. Look at you. I love it.
Yeah. Give me Germany. Germany over England in the final. That's my pick.
The Bonmati absence.
That's a real one. That counts.
They have a lot of other good players, so it's my thing.
I know, but that's the best player.
Right. That's two Ballon d'Ors off the board, so they only have 2 Ballon d'Ors still on the roster. Okay. Yeah, I think I just feel foolish. Give uh, Spain, Sweden in the
Ooh,
final, and España takes it.
give me my guy Christian Vuk. We're gonna lift this trophy. Our guy, me and
I
Vicey, we're gonna be partying, and it become 3-4
I
weeks from now.
I think Spain. I think they overcome the Bonmati absence and they stamp it, and it's a World Cup and a Euro,
I mean,
and the narrative
I
fits.
it's reminding me of last Olympics in the summer because I remember we were like, "Oh, are we really gonna bet against Spain? Are we really gonna this is Spain we're talking?" And then like even with the flat performances, we're like, yeah, but like when it comes out, and then they just never were able to put it back together. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I feel like that plus 200, that's a little heavy. That's a little heavy for this tournament and this field. I feel like this field's pretty loaded. They're going to have a tough time once it gets to the knockout stage. It's going to be real football at that point. There's going to be no game. They're going to have to play all 90 minutes, cover all the blades of grass for sure. And I feel like they've played a lot of football, and we'll see how much is left in the tank. I mean, it's a tough time of year to really summon to dig that deep. So I could see them kind of stalling out, and then I could see Germany, a team that's been kind of knocking on the door, really just fully busting through. I really love just the makeup of the roster makes a ton of sense to me.
I like it. It makes sense. I mean, Germany's absolutely one of the teams that could win this tournament. So I don't blame you for a second. To MLS, to P3, our great pals. Just remember who's got your back. Now the Barcelona guy, now the Spain guy. I'll make it out there again sometime, and enjoy some of the delicious cuisine, see the sights, and hopefully watch some football out there. Hopefully, I am welcomed as a honorary citizen of Spain.
Yeah, get you some paella. I mean, I'm just trying to hit these predictions. I'm not going to pat myself on the back too hard, but 2 straight years of Champions League final predictions, including the fall of the mighty Barcelona. Real lonely out there making that pick, that 1-0 Arsenal over Barcelona, but nailed that one and feel pretty good about my Germany over England in the final here in this one too. We'll see. Like I said, I'm easy to find. Very easy to find.
You stand on the takes. I'm just out here trying to get some paellas, some patatas bravas, maybe a little croqueta occasionally.
A little cerveza sponsor. I mean, it wouldn't kill us. All right, man. We're 107 minutes. 107 minutes into our mega might have undersold it. Mega monster preview. We made our picks. We covered all 16 teams. For anyone still listening, God bless you. I mean, I really cannot believe that would be possible, but we appreciate you, singular person out there that's still rocking with us. It's going to be a great tournament. We're going to watch this football together. I don't know, covered a ton of ground, man. Anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
I think that's it. Like I always say to folks, let us know what we missed, and we'll keep an eye out for it as the matches are played.
All right, man. All that's left is a football, just a couple days away here. I think we did it, man. This has been another episode of Inside Channel. Thank you for hanging out. If you enjoyed the show or love Women's Football as much as your boys do, make sure you're kicking with us each and every single week. We're going to try to do a thing. We're going to try to cover these matches a little bit quicker. There's going to be 12 straight days of football. I'm not making any promises that we'll have 12 straight days of shows, but we're going to see how close we can get. There's just too much going on, too much to share. And I'm not going to make any promises that we're going to watch every second, but we're going to be locked in, and we'll be here with you for the whole tournament. So definitely keep it locked. If you enjoyed the show or love Women's Football as much as your boys do, make sure you're kicking with us. Like if you liked, subscribe, follow YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to watch or listen. Leave us a review over your favorite podcast app. We want to hear from you. We love hearing from you. Links to all of our socials, except one, in the show notes of this episode. And a big thank you to my co-host as well, Mr. Graningle, for potting well into Sunday morning. I appreciate you, bro. It only comes around for every 4 years. I already know I can count on you. This is sort of prime time extended for your boys. Not quite Champions League season, but it's right there in terms of prestige and importance. And I already know I don't have to fret about whether how locked in you're going to be, or whether you're going to be here with the takes and kind of like blowing my mind with what you're picking up in terms of watching all this football. Long story short, I appreciate you, bro.
Likewise, buddy. I knew you'd be locked in as well. I mean, the data is outstanding per usual. I'm just excited to watch the football, see how the matches are played, see what these teams look like. Again, I've mentioned it multiple times. If you're from some of these countries, if you're watching these teams closely, if you've seen some of these players play in your favorite domestic league, on your favorite clubs, let us know. What are we missing? Well, who should we be looking out for? We only covered a couple players from each squad. So tell us if we have a big blind spot on any of these. We always love hearing from you guys. You're constantly educating us, having great conversations in the chat. We very much appreciate that. Just kind of, enjoying talking to nice people on the internet, which is actually a thing that exists in 2025. It's a miracle that we found it. We very much appreciate all of you. We're looking forward to watching the football with you, and we will see you all next time.